Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, do we truly know our own soul? It's not just a philosophical question. It's a profound mystery that quietly lingers beneath our everyday lives. Maybe you've caught yourself pondering this in those quiet, solitary moments late at night. What if I told you that your soul isn't just one thing, something fixed and unchanging? What if it's gone through countless cycles of rebirth, reincarnation, and transformation? This isn't some abstract religious concept or fantasy. It's an ancient secret embedded in the wisdom of lost civilizations. From the Egyptian underworld to the cycles of reincarnation in Hinduism, to the hidden teachings of Western mysticism, this idea of soul rebirth has always been with us. But here's the real question. Why has the secret of the soul's rebirth been shrouded in mystery for so long? Why for centuries has this knowledge been forgotten, distorted, or even deliberately concealed? Is it fear? Or is there something greater at play, a hidden power that keeps this truth locked away? Today we're going to uncover that very secret. In this video we're going to dive deep into the true meaning of soul rebirth. We'll trace its roots back through history, exploring why these ancient teachings have remained hidden and misunderstood for so long. Along the way we'll reveal a force so powerful, so transformative, that it might change the way you think about life, death, and everything in between. Are you ready to unlock the secret of your soul's true journey, to walk the path that was lost to time, and discover the transformative power that lies within your very essence? Together we'll reveal the truth behind soul rebirth. This is not just about ancient teachings. It's about you, your soul, and the incredible journey that lies ahead. Whether you're a seasoned seeker of the mystical, or someone just beginning to explore these realms, you'll uncover truths that will shake the foundation of what you thought you knew. So join me as we unravel the veil of time and uncover the hidden secret of soul rebirth. The concept of soul rebirth is ancient, its roots extending deep into the annals of time. It's a thread woven into the very fabric of many ancient civilizations, yet it remains largely misunderstood in the modern world. To understand the mystery of soul rebirth, we must first travel back, not just in time but into the very heart of human history. Let's begin in ancient Egypt, where the cycle of life, death, and rebirth was a central theme in their spiritual and religious practices. The Egyptians believed that the soul was eternal, never truly dying, but instead passing through various stages of transformation. Their rituals, especially the intricate and sacred burial rites, were designed not just to honor the dead, but to ensure that the soul could move through the afterlife and eventually be reborn. The Egyptians weren't the only ones to grasp the idea of soul rebirth. In India, the concept of samsara, the continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, is a cornerstone of Hinduism and Buddhism. Here the soul is bound to the wheel of reincarnation, trapped in an endless loop until it achieves spiritual enlightenment. But this isn't just about coming back again and again. It's about evolving, transcending the cycle, and ultimately attaining liberation. These ancient traditions share a common thread. The soul is not a singular, static entity, but a dynamic force undergoing transformation. However, this knowledge has often been hidden in plain sight, buried under layers of symbolism, secret teachings, and esoteric wisdom. The reasons for this suppression are complex. Some say it was a means of control. Others believe it was due to the fear of the powerful implications such knowledge held. Whatever the reason, the deeper truths about soul rebirth have remained elusive to most of humanity. In Western mysticism, the idea of soul rebirth is also present, though often in more obscure forms. Alchemists, Kabbalists, and Hermetic philosophers spoke of the soul's journey, its purification, and its eventual return to the divine source. Alchemical processes, for instance, were seen as symbolic of the soul's own transmutation, an ongoing process of refining and evolving until it reaches its true form. Even the tarot, a tool often associated with fortune-telling, contains deep insights into the soul's journey, particularly in the archetypes of death and the fool, representing both the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. Yet over time, much of this knowledge has been lost or distorted. The Christian doctrine of eternal salvation and damnation, for example, became the dominant worldview in the West, overshadowing the more fluid and cyclical understanding of the soul that had existed for millennia. As a result, the concept of soul rebirth became not only misunderstood, but relegated to the realm of mysticism and even heresy. But in the 20th and 21st centuries, this ancient knowledge has begun to resurface. Scholars, spiritual seekers, and mystics have started to re-examine these forgotten teachings. They're piecing together the fragments of ancient texts, reviving the ideas of reincarnation, karmic cycles, and spiritual transformation. And, in doing so, they're challenging the very fabric of modern consciousness. So why, after all this time, is the secret of soul rebirth being rediscovered? And what does this ancient knowledge hold for us today? To understand this, we must begin to look not just outwardly at these ancient teachings, but inwardly at how they speak to the soul's deepest yearning for growth, understanding, and transcendence. As we uncover these hidden truths, we'll start to see that soul rebirth isn't just an esoteric concept. It's a practical, transformative path that holds the key to our deepest spiritual awakening. But first, we need to break down the core ideas behind soul rebirth and understand how they apply to our own lives. Now that we've journeyed through the historical and philosophical landscape of soul rebirth, we can begin to peel back the layers and dive deeper into the core concepts behind this ancient mystery. This is where the real revelation happens, where the hidden truth begins to take form. At its essence, soul rebirth is not about a single life or one solitary existence. It's about an ongoing process of transformation, a cycle or journey that transcends time, death, and identity. The soul in its purest form is not just something that exists in isolation. It is a part of a greater cosmic web, bound to the eternal flow of life, death, and renewal. To understand soul rebirth, we must first understand that the soul itself is a dynamic force, constantly evolving, learning, and shedding its old forms. This idea might be a hard pill to swallow for many of us, especially in the West, where we are conditioned to think of life as linear: birth, life, death, end. But in the ancient traditions, the soul is seen not as a one-time entity, but as something that perpetually renews itself, like the cycle of seasons or the phases of the moon. The soul's journey through various lives and experiences is akin to a river flowing through countless landscapes, each one shaping and refining it until it reaches the ocean of divine unity. One of the most powerful symbols of this ongoing process is the phoenix, the mythical bird that burns itself to ashes and then rises anew from those ashes. This symbolism of death and rebirth captures the very essence of the soul's journey. The soul must die to its old self in order to rebirth into a higher form, a better version, a more evolved consciousness. This is where the alchemical process comes into play. In alchemy, this cycle of transformation is known as the great work, or magnum opus. Alchemists believe that the base metal, symbolizing the human ego or the lower aspects of the soul, must be purified through fire and intense trials before it can be transmuted into gold, symbolizing spiritual enlightenment. The great work mirrors the journey of the soul through multiple lives, where each death and rebirth acts as a purification, refining the soul until it reaches its highest, most enlightened state. The concept of karma, which is central to many Eastern philosophies, also plays a vital role in the cycle of soul rebirth. Karma is the law of cause and effect. Every action, every thought, every decision we make leaves an imprint on our soul. This imprint, whether positive or negative, influences the circumstances of our next life. Karma is not a system of punishment or reward, but rather a tool for growth and spiritual evolution. In a sense, it's the soul's way of correcting its course, learning from its past mistakes, and moving toward a higher state of awareness. But this leads us to a deeper question. How does the soul know when it is ready for rebirth? What signals the transition from one life to the next? And more importantly, how do we as individuals align ourselves with this process? The key here lies in understanding that rebirth isn't simply about time passing, it's about consciousness evolving. Soul rebirth is an internal, personal journey. It's not about waiting for something outside of ourselves to change, but rather about awakening to the latent potential within. As we grow in wisdom, spiritual awareness and self-understanding, we start to break free from the constraints of our current existence. The more we align ourselves with this deeper knowing, the more we become open to the cycles of transformation, which leads us to the next level of spiritual evolution. But this isn't just an abstract concept. The soul's rebirth is something that we can tap into in our daily lives. Through practices like meditation, introspection, and conscious living, we can begin to connect with this inner process of transformation. By shedding old beliefs, emotional baggage, and attachments, we create the space for a new way of being. But this process is not easy. It requires a willingness to face uncomfortable truths, let go of what no longer serves us, and embrace the unknown with courage and openness. As we go deeper, we'll explore how this process works in real terms, looking at examples of people who have undergone profound transformations, whether through spiritual awakenings, near-death experiences, or simply the gradual unfolding of their higher consciousness. But before we dive into these stories, we need to first understand the deeper, hidden significance of this soul evolution, how it connects to the very fabric of reality itself. The truth is, soul rebirth is not just about us as individuals. It's about the soul's role in the grand cosmic order. To fully understand the implications of this process, we must consider the interconnection between all souls, and how our rebirths ripple through the greater fabric of existence. Stay with me, because we're just beginning to scratch the surface. The next part of our journey will take us even deeper, exploring the hidden meanings, paradoxes, and transformative powers that make soul rebirth not just a concept, but a profound reality. As we continue our exploration into the mystery of soul rebirth, we now delve even deeper, past the surface of the concept, to uncover the hidden meanings, contradictions, and truths that lie beneath. This is where the esoteric teachings, ancient wisdom, and spiritual insights come together to challenge our perceptions of reality. One of the most profound aspects of soul rebirth is the paradoxical nature of its process. On one hand, the soul's journey is a never-ending cycle of birth, death, and renewal. Yet, on the other hand, it is an eternal journey toward unity, toward returning to the source of all creation. This is where we begin to encounter the hidden depths of soul rebirth. It's not merely about reincarnation, it's about an ongoing return to a higher state of being, a process that transcends time and space. This brings us to a fundamental paradox. Does the soul truly reincarnate, or does it simply evolve through different states of consciousness? The idea of reincarnation is often understood in terms of linear time, where one life follows another, and the soul's journey is divided into separate lifetimes. But what if, instead of viewing reincarnation as a series of discrete events, we began to see it as a continuum, a gradual unfolding of the soul's potential across different planes of existence? In this view, each life we live is not just a new beginning, but a continuation of the soul's journey. Every reincarnation represents a deeper level of understanding, a more refined expression of the soul's essence. Rather than a new soul being born each time, we could consider that the soul is continually evolving, gaining new insights, and refining its consciousness as it moves through different experiences, challenges, and transformations. But this brings us to another essential question. What happens when the soul reaches its highest level of spiritual development? In many esoteric traditions, there is the idea that the soul can eventually break free from the cycle of reincarnation altogether, achieving what is called liberation or enlightenment. In Buddhism, this is known as nirvana, a state of ultimate peace and freedom from the cycle of suffering and rebirth. In Hinduism, it is the state of moksha, where the soul reunites with the divine source and no longer needs to return to the material world. Yet, even in these traditions, the path to liberation is not a simple or easy one. It requires intense spiritual discipline, self-awareness, and a deep understanding of the nature of reality. The soul must transcend its attachment to the ego, the material world, and the illusions that bind it to the cycle of suffering. This is where the true power of soul rebirth lies, not in escaping the cycle of life and death, but in transcending the illusions that keep us trapped within it. There is, however, another layer to this process, the concept of the soul's mission or purpose. Many spiritual traditions suggest that each soul has a unique purpose, a mission it must fulfill during its time in the material world. This purpose is often tied to a deeper cosmic plan, a role that the soul must play in the grand unfolding of creation. This is where the teachings of Kabbalah, Hermeticism and Theosophy begin to reveal their hidden truths. In these traditions, it's believed that the soul's journey is not random but divinely orchestrated. Each life, each challenge, and each rebirth is part of a larger cosmic design, one that contributes to the evolution of the universe itself. The soul is not just a passive observer in this process, it is an active participant, working in harmony with the divine forces to fulfill its unique purpose. This understanding reframes the idea of soul rebirth not as a repetitive cycle, but as an essential and purposeful journey toward divine union. This idea brings us to one of the most intriguing concepts in mysticism, the soul's return to source. In many esoteric traditions, it is believed that the ultimate goal of soul rebirth is to return to the divine source, the place from which all souls originally came. This return is not just a reunion, but a transformation. The soul, after undergoing countless cycles of death and rebirth, becomes purified, enlightened, and one with the divine. This is the ultimate purpose of soul rebirth, to evolve and ascend to a state of divine oneness. However, there is a catch. Not every soul will reach this ultimate state of enlightenment in a single lifetime. It may take many lifetimes, many cycles of growth, suffering, and transformation before the soul is ready for its final return. But the key to this journey is consciousness. It is through increasing awareness, self-discovery, and spiritual practice that the soul begins to break free from its attachments and limitations, moving ever closer to this final return to the source. But how does this apply to us in the present moment? What can we do right now to align ourselves with this ancient process of soul rebirth? How do we tap into the deeper currents of this transformative journey? The answer lies in understanding that soul rebirth is not just something that happens in the distant future. It is a process that unfolds continuously in our lives, in every thought, every action, and every decision we make. In the next section, we'll explore how to practically apply the wisdom of soul rebirth to our own lives. We'll look at real-world practices, techniques, and spiritual exercises that can help us align with this higher purpose and begin our own personal process of transformation. Now that we've explored the profound depths of soul rebirth, it's time to bring this knowledge into our everyday lives. The ancient wisdom we've uncovered is not just theoretical, it is practical and transformative. So how can we align ourselves with this ongoing process of soul transformation? How do we begin to live in a way that supports our soul's evolution? The first and most crucial step is self-awareness. To undergo a true rebirth, we must be willing to confront the truth of who we are. Without filters, without distractions, and without the masks we wear to navigate the world. This requires us to go deep within, asking hard questions and confronting the parts of ourselves that we often avoid. This process, known as shadow work in modern spiritual practices, is essential to the rebirth of the soul. The shadow represents all the hidden, suppressed, or denied parts of ourselves, the emotions, beliefs, and experiences we've buried. Until we face these aspects of ourselves, they continue to influence our thoughts and actions unconsciously. One powerful tool for cultivating this self-awareness is meditation. Meditation creates the space to quiet the mind, listen to our inner wisdom, and begin to see the patterns that govern our lives. In this stillness, we can begin to observe our thoughts and emotions without attachment, allowing us to understand the underlying beliefs and fears that keep us stuck in old patterns. It's through meditation that we can break free from the cycle of reaction and instead consciously choose how we respond to life's challenges. This practice fosters the kind of awareness that is necessary for the soul's evolution, allowing us to see beyond the surface of things and connect with the deeper currents of our spiritual journey. But meditation alone is not enough. Living with intention is equally important. To truly embody the principles of soul rebirth, we must live consciously with purpose. This means making decisions that align with our higher self and spiritual growth. It's about recognizing that every choice we make, from the relationships we form to the work we do, plays a role in our soul's journey. Living with intention means understanding that we are constantly creating our future, and the actions we take today will shape our path tomorrow. One of the most powerful ways to live with intention is through daily rituals and practices. These rituals help to ground us in our spiritual journey and remind us of our higher purpose. Whether it's lighting a candle in the morning to set an intention for the day, practicing gratitude before sleep, or creating a sacred space for reflection, rituals help us to stay connected to the deeper layers of our soul. Over time, these practices shape our consciousness, transforming our daily lives into a continuous process of growth and rebirth. Another important tool in the process of soul rebirth is embracing transformation. The soul's journey is one of constant evolution, and transformation can be uncomfortable. We must be willing to shed our old selves, our outdated beliefs, habits, and attachments, in order to make room for the new. This can feel like a form of death, but in reality it is simply the death of the ego, the false self that we hold on to for safety and security. Just as a snake sheds its skin to allow for growth, we too must shed the old in order to embrace the new. This can be particularly challenging in moments of change or uncertainty, but it's precisely during these times that we have the greatest opportunity for growth. Embracing transformation means learning to trust the process of rebirth, even when it feels scary or uncertain. It means letting go of the need for control and surrendering to the flow of life. Forgiveness is another vital practice for the soul's evolution. Holding on to anger, resentment, or guilt from past experiences keeps us tethered to our old selves, preventing us from moving forward. Forgiveness frees the soul, allowing it to evolve and move forward without the weight of past wounds. This doesn't mean excusing harm or forgetting the past, but rather releasing the emotional hold it has over us. By forgiving others and ourselves, we release the chains that bind us to past suffering, creating the space for healing and rebirth. Finally, self-love and compassion are essential for the soul's transformation. As we journey through life, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-criticism and judgment, especially when we face our flaws and mistakes. However, true growth comes from loving ourselves through the process of change. Just as we would care for a child who is learning and growing, we must show the same compassion and patience toward ourselves. The more we nurture and support ourselves with love, the more the soul can open up to new possibilities, insights, and growth. These practices, self-awareness, meditation, intentional living, daily rituals, embracing transformation, forgiveness, and self-love, are all integral to the process of soul rebirth. They help us to consciously participate in the cycles of our soul's evolution, guiding us toward greater understanding, higher consciousness, and ultimately our return to the divine source. The journey of soul rebirth is not one that happens overnight. It's a continuous process, unfolding over the course of many lifetimes, yet also happening in the here and now. It's about recognizing that we are always in a state of becoming, that our soul is always evolving, always seeking to rise higher. By embracing this journey, and consciously participating in it, we align ourselves with the deepest truths of the universe, unlocking the transformative power of rebirth. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with a thought. The soul is not bound by time, space, or the limitations of the material world. It is eternal, always in motion, always evolving. Rebirth is not just a concept, it is the very essence of existence itself. So I ask you now, what part of yourself are you ready to let go of in order to be reborn? What attachments, beliefs, or fears are you ready to shed so that your soul can evolve into its highest form? The process of soul rebirth is not just a distant mystery. It is unfolding right now in each moment. By aligning with it, you step into your true power, your true purpose, and begin to live the life your soul was always meant to experience. If you feel ready to explore this further, to dive deeper into your own soul's journey, I encourage you to engage with the practices we've discussed today. Allow yourself to transform, to grow, and to embrace the infinite possibilities that lie ahead. Thank you for being part of this exploration. And remember, the soul's rebirth is not the end, but a beautiful new beginning. Keep seeking, keep evolving, and keep unlocking the mysteries of your soul.